Hey, what is up everybody, Blazer here, and today I have for you guys another video, Persona 5X. Inside today's video guys, we're going to be going ahead and going over some tips and tricks that you might want to know on global launch to help you get further into the game. Now these tips and tricks are going to vary from anywhere, whether it's just like city activities, metaverse type tips and tricks, gameplay, and even down to your characters, so surely do keep that in mind. So the first section that we're going to immediately try and take a look at here is going to be the characters. Now characters themselves is not going to only pertain to just actual units, but it's also going to pertain to, for at least our man Wonder, the most part here. So the first thing I want to say is, as the first tip, you want to make sure you want to complete as much of your Persona Compendium as possible. The Persona Compendium is going to give you a tons of things such as like inspiration points, which you can then utilize for at least Wonder's inspiration skill tree, which can help you out quite a lot in the long run. The higher his skill tree is, the more at least of these stats that he's able to give all of his actual allies, which can come in handy. I'll try to have a video out for at least which stats you want to go ahead and progress with first, so then you guys are able to at least notify how to at least get up our man Wonder as fast as possible. There is a rhythm to this, so surely do keep that in mind. Now for the next thing that I want to talk about, at least as a tip and trick here, is to make sure that you have two different teams. One of these teams more or less for a single target type team, and the other team more or less being an AOE type team. A good example of this is kind of the global actual fire team here, or I guess for some reason it's global curse here. But if we go ahead and go to a global fire team here, this is more of your AOE based type team here. The main reason for this is because you have at least an AOE DPS, an AOE debuffer, and then of course a healer here. It's always going to be something of that nature. But you want to make sure you're having at least a single target team as well, which a good example of this is the Winded team, seeing that there's going to be different fights. There's always going to be different things that you're going to need here, and more or less having a single target team and a AOE team will help you for those said situations. Now you could very well just truck it on through with just an AOE team, or just truck it on through with a single target team, but this is more of a tip to help you clear the game quicker instead of having to take a lot of time with just, you know, slugging it through sometimes. But still, a tip nonetheless. Now the last one that I wanted to go over for at least the character side of things is focusing more on the revelation cards. Revelation cards here you unlock at least level 35. You don't want to focus on them primarily. You're going to get a lot of these things by just going ahead and doing palaces, as well as just doing the metaverse type aspects. And if anything, you don't want to go ahead and look for perfect substats or perfect things of that nature. All you really need to do is, as you're going through, it doesn't matter what type of at least rarity it is, if it's purple, if it's blue, if it's gray, try to at least get the correct set, or at least one of the sets on here, so at least you're getting some stat effects here, and then make sure you get the right main stat. If you can get the right main stats and put them on your characters early on, it will be enough main stats that you really do need in order to just breeze through a lot of the content. So the quicker you do this, the better it's going to be. Just don't farm these guys, it's not worth it. All right, now talking about a little bit of some city tricks that of course you guys could know. This is going to pertain to anything you can do in the city. So whether it's your city activities, which are energy points, or whether it's just things that are just nice to do around the city, you surely want to pay attention to these as well. The first thing that you want to go ahead and do around the city here is look for a lot of at least the weekly limited items. Majority of these items here are going to be inside of these shops here, and majority of them also have a weekly limit. So if we go ahead and take a look here, the limit for this actual item here is 3. So you want to make sure as you're going through the city and as you collect a lot more, at least money here, try to buy these items out, whether it's books or anything of that nature, because you want to make sure you have these gifts as fast as possible for majority of your confidants. These gifts do vary, so of course you're going to need to go ahead and check the confidant section in order to know exactly what gifts to buy. But for example, for one of the people that you will be actually utilizing quite a lot, being Rope, you want to make sure that you're buying out these type of gifts here, which are like ones that are really weekly based here. You end up teleporting to one of these actual locations and then immediately buying them out as much as possible. The quicker you get this, the sooner they're going to come back the next week, and then you can get them again in order to help out more of your actual confidant level. So surely be able to do this, and make sure you have at least the cash to do so as well, because it's going to come in handy quite a lot. Now when it comes down to the next thing that we're going to go about here, this is going to be the gachapons. Now gachapons are going to be these little stations inside the city as well, which are going to need some cash as well for some of these. The reason why you want to do them is not only just because they actually give you the little icons and you can place them in your house as well, pretty much like a collector, but alongside of doing these said things here, you're actually able to complete the whole set, and the whole set will give you like a little bit of a case background and give you some gems. Sometimes these are limited here, so you do want to of course know to get those immediately, but every last one of these guys are going to give you gems, whether it's 150, 120. I think at the very beginning it was at just a base 100. So surely do knock these out. You don't want to make the mistake and not do them, because they actually can get you some extra gems in the long run. Now, another thing about the Gachapon section here is, let's say you do need to get some of these, right? You're missing said statues. Try to trade them with your friends as well, because they will actually help you out in the long run to complete the whole set, especially if you're low on a couple bits of cash. So surely do keep that in mind as well. Now for the last thing that I want to go ahead and go over for at least city tricks here, this is going to be doing the city activities that can give you at least Metaverse Ambers. Metaverse Ambers do pop up every so often here when you're doing said city activities, so you can just go ahead and just do any of these for just social stats, and every now and again they will pop up. When they do pop up, immediately do these guys, because they do give you at the end of the day the currency that you need to summon. So at long last, do not let those go by. You see them, get them as fast as possible and get those extra gems in your pocket. All right, so now that we went over some city tricks here, let's talk about some gameplay tricks that a lot of you guys really should know, and at the beginning of the game I didn't even know for a hot minute. One of these gameplay tricks here that I would like to recommend is actually going to be in your settings menu. You want to go ahead and go to the settings menu here, and then you're able to customize certain settings to actually change a little bit of your gameplay. Some of the gameplay that you really want to go ahead and focus on, of course, it could be the way you control your character, right? Whether it's classic or RPG, which depends on how your camera goes, or some of the actual really important ones, if you go down, are going to actually tell you about some of the combat. For example, you're able to enable persona changes in auto mode here. So if you wanted to, you can have the actual Autobot itself, when it's controlling, change your personas, or even utilize your highlights and or your actual Navi skills. Though you can very well turn this off, and it will change, of course, how you play. Essentially, it's going to be very, very important as well. But one thing that I feel like a lot of you guys really should pay attention to is this one right here. Automatically select one more target. How it used to be was this was automatically checked on here, in which by having this on whenever you're playing or doing a one more option, as even the auto system is doing the one more option, immediately it will do the one more target by itself. You couldn't click the target that you want to do the one more on, meaning certain knockdowns just weren't possible. But whenever you do have this one more thing off, you're actually able to select said target that you want and adapt accordingly with whoever you want to do the one more attack on. It's kind of helpful, especially if you're doing like SOS. So I surely do hope you guys do this first. Now, another thing that's for at least the gameplay options here, this is going to pertain morely to the social links. Social links are going to be able to do a lot of things inside this game, aka your confidants, in which you want to do this as soon as possible. Reasoning for this is because every last social link here is going to give you different little boosts, whether it comes down to just a ton of different gems, different things such as different aspects, such as giving your other characters gifts, maybe getting more stamina. All that stuff will be appliant to here. So you want to get these confidants as up as possible, and you also get some materials alongside of it. This is going to be very, very important. So you really want to make sure that you focus on your social links as a good tip and trick. Now, lastly here, if you guys do have this on global release, which I think you guys should here, you want to make sure that you actually are purchasing the things from the Thieves Den. Now, the Thieves Den here is this button called My Palace, in which while we click it here, it's going to take you to a certain area. For this certain area, you're able to buy certain things here in which you can utilize the shop, and some of the things have actual buffs. As you can see, for example, by having the statue, we're able to increase all allies damage by 1.5% inside of Nightmare's Gateway, aka the guild boss area. The same can apply with at least certain things for stamina. If you go ahead and actually check out some of at least the items here, which are more or less these little, I guess you could say, rooms here, you're able to buy these said rooms, and they actually do have some stamina features. Getting the extra stamina is always good for you, so whenever you're able to buy those things, be sure to do so. It's going to come in handy. It's going to give you that extra little oomph that you do need here, especially when it comes down to really more of the extracurricular stuff that you really want to do in the long run. So I highly advise you guys to really pay attention to that as well. But with that out the way here, we're going to go ahead and move on to our final section here, which is going to be the Metaverse section. Now, the Metaverse section here is a little bit of something that most people wouldn't have known unless you were just on the game a little bit too much here, kind of like me, where at this point in time, I was just doing things just to do them. And I found that, hey, there's certain things that actually do help you. One of these things here, you're only going to find out when you're inside of Mementos, which is the daily cap of soul gems. Just from insta-killing different mobs inside of at least the Metaverse area, insta-killing these guys every day, you can get around 10k soul gems, which is absolutely helpful. If you're anything like me, in which currently I'm actually utilizing a horrible team, so like right now I can't at least insta-kill them here, but we went ahead and swapped maybe to, I think we could do it with our regular fire team here just to showcase it. We swapped to our, no, we can't even do it there. That's crazy. But later on, if you go down the higher, I guess, little areas here, you can actually go ahead, swap to certain teams here and insta-kill some of these mobs. I think it's because I'm way too low and see at least into the Metaverse area here. So a lot of these guys aren't insta-killable, but by doing this here, you're able to meet the quota of 10k soul gems, which help you build a lot of your characters. By getting these different little insta-kills, which you can run them over with the card, just like, of course, Morgana, you're able to get more and more of these soul gems to that 10k point, which very well is something you can do daily. Stacking up on soul gems are going to be very, very important. So just doing this is going to be helpful. As you can see, we got 124 that will cap out at the 10k mark, which can help you out. The same goes with the thief XP, but I mean, I want to be honest with this. It's probably not the best idea to try and get thieves XP just by at least doing this. It's just not going to be too worth it. Now, going ahead and talking about the next thing that you guys want to go ahead and do inside the Metaverse area is going to be the persona side of things. Personas are going to be very important, especially when it comes down to Wonder himself, seeing you want to complete the compendium as fast as possible. So by doing ahead your personas with your stamina, it's going to be very, very helpful, seeing you're completing not only the compendium, getting yourself insight points, which are going to be very, very needed for our man Wonder. The more of these personas that you get, the better. And every 10 levels, of course, that Wonder unlocks, he will unlock one of these sections. You want to be sure to grind them out as fast as possible, which you only have to do, I think, 1 or 2 of them to get the persona itself, at least until you get to the higher end of things, which do take multiple different runs. But doing them, of course, gives you those points, so surely do them. And then last thing that we're going to go ahead and actually talk about here is going to be pertaining to the palaces. Palaces themselves, which I don't really want to click too many of them here, but we'll click the first one just to show you guys. Palaces themselves can be revisited with this function. It's going to be a function right on the side that looks like a little circle here, which don't feel like you have to complete them all in one day or do them between a certain timing. Palaces are not time gated or anything of that nature, so let's say you miss a couple things and it's not 100%ed, that's perfectly fine. You're able to come back at a later time and date and just go back and do all of this. So if you find yourself stuck, don't worry about it, keep moving on, and you can go back when you're stronger to go ahead and do all of these things. Houses are going to be very, very important, so when you do complete them, or at least do find everything out of here, you get a lot of goodies such as EXP, different little meta jewels, or at least the actual gems that you do need here, and then different little support functions such as EXP books, EXP gears for at least your weapons, and so on and so forth. So you do want to complete this, but take your time at the end of the day. But those are all the tips I can pretty much give as well for now. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that like button and consider subscribing if you are new. I do daily videos on Persona, so until next time, everybody, peace out.